And I still should push record on my computer?
Yeah, that way it goes to your cloud.
And now once I start recording, I can put it on pause.
Yes. Yes, you can put it on pause once you start recording.
Okay. I'm making you host. And you have to give me permission to record.
It's live now.
Yep.
Greetings, Rev.
Hey.
We're standing by. I'm muting everyone until after 7 o'clock. We have 3 minutes to 7.
amazing 13-year-old.
One minute to showtime, folks. Thank you, everyone, for joining Rainey Speaks tonight. Bishop, you can go on.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me again here on Rainey Speaks. Okay. Well, hi Pearl, hi Celeste. I see the two of you have joined, and others are tapping in and saying they're coming. Well, notice that the sunlight is getting better. I've been asking all through the winter to take your phone and call people that you may not have heard from or that you know suffer with depression. We're almost out of it, but somebody come to mind. Don't give up yet. Call them, just check in and say hello, because people do fight with depression for several reasons. And two of the basic reasons are, one, people are grieving. If you've lost somebody that's in the last 5 years, that you could still be grieving. And the other one is lack of sunlight. Isn't it interesting? They're talking about changing, getting rid of daylight saving times. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, where did that come from? It came from when people were farming and they needed to be working during the daylight hours. But we don't need that anymore. We're way past that. We're the only country in the world that can change time. All right. I have two subjects that I've been asked to speak about, and I'm going to pick. One is the concept of reincarnation, and the other one is the meaning of the disciples' names and how does that apply in our everyday life. I gotta step out just for a second. I need to grab something so that I can keep working. I'm back. I'm back. Yes. So, yes, so the two subjects that I was asked to speak on was reincarnation and how does that apply and is it in the Bible? And the second one is like I said, the meaning of the disciples' names. Because I made a statement and I live by it. If I want to know who you are, I look at your friends, because you chose your friends according to the energy that they carry. Now, first, I'm going to deal with reincarnation. A lot of people struggle with reincarnation because they try to say, well, it's not in the Bible, but it is. And then because people have the wrong understanding, and because they have the wrong understanding, they think that reincarnation means that you can go to this life, in the next life, you're going to be in a lower form. Maybe you're a dog or a cat. It doesn't go backwards. It goes forward. The consciousness goes forward. And we were never cats or dogs. That is the state of the human condition. Now, we have to first look at, we are a trilogy. We have a body, we have a soul, and we have a spirit. The spirit houses is what is the energy. The spirit is that spark that comes from the divine. It gives the energy and it infuses and emanates the soul. So the soul becomes animated. The soul is that part. I'm being very basic so that we don't get too deep in the weeds. Is that part of that manifests the energy of feelings and where knowledge. That's why, the old saying, you got soul, but you got feelings. So the spirit uses the soul so that it can experience the different qualities of life, and that is housed in the body. So we use our bodies, and I call our bodies earthmobiles, so that we can get around and travel around in the physical world. In spirit, you don't need a physical body. You can go anywhere, anytime, and you don't need to sleep. And that's why at times when people think, now those who understand the cycle of birth and rebirth in life, I have friends that think that it's like they understand it emotionally, even intuitively, but intellectually they don't understand it. Because, there's an old saying, every shut eye ain't sleep and every goodbye ain't gone. So I tell people, no, when you think your mother spoke to you or your father spoke to you, and it felt real, because it was. That energy does not disappear. Somebody, I put it this way, you can destroy nothing. You can only make it change states. You take water, heat it up, it's steam, you cool it off, it's water, you make it cold, it turns to ice. I can make it keep changing, but I can never get rid of it. You can burn a building down. They can pick up the ashes of it and say, this was wood, that was plastic, that was steel. You can make it change, but you cannot get rid of it. That being true, our bodies will turn back to dirt, and they will look at it and say, those were the remains of a human. And that's why they can look at some remains and go, those were the remains of a dog. Because we can make it change, but we can't get rid of it. So now the energy in our body, when we separate from the physical body, it changes into something different. It is still, the consciousness is still moving. The energy that holds it is still there. And that's why even people who have done deep meditations and who are spiritually awakened can even tell hours after a person died where the consciousness is. I'm just going to let that marinate. Some have been with me before when people are making transition or dying, that you're able to actually see the energy in the body. And the energy leaves the body usually from the heart or from the head. Most of the time it's this way, but sometimes it's this way from the heart. And if you are ever around somebody who is dying, you will find that the arms, the hands, the feet get cold first. And the energy begins to move up the body and it exits out of the body. That energy isn't, it just doesn't disappear. That energy moves on. And unenlightened people, I'm being very general. There are people that get stuck in that energy and they're still here. And then those are advanced souls who understand that they are free from the body and they can move on. What is the real purpose of reincarnation? Well, um, reincarnation, we come to learn certain lessons for our life, the growth of our spirit. You chose your family because there were certain lessons you needed to learn in that family construct. There are friends, that your race, your gender, all of that was so that you could experience the world in a certain way and learn certain lessons. The children that your children, your parents, your brothers and sisters, all are there by design to help you understand lessons that you need to learn. And that once you learn it, you liberate yourself and you can free yourself from it. And this is a piece that I had to write out. Reincarnation is a process of liberation of the soul. Remember, the soul has these experiences. That's why when you meet somebody and you don't like them, or you meet somebody and that's the energy of your soul. Each experience is in a sequence which leads to clear definitions and goals, so that you can have free choice and a deliberate return out of the physical into spirit. What does all of that mean? It's a process of liberation. Reincarnation is a process of liberation. Liberating the soul, that part of us that experienced life and enjoyed things and taste and feel and connect. You're not your body. You are not your body. You're not even your soul. You use your soul. But the more we get connected to the physical world and the material world, the harder it is to liberate yourself so that you can truly be free. And the spirit is no longer encased and trapped here. I'm hoping that makes sense to you. If you, and especially on this one, if you got any questions, shoot those questions at me and I will keep going. This also explains why, and I know all of us have had this experience, you meet somebody and automatically there's a click. It's like you've known each other for years. You have. The greatest experience I had with that was, I've told you that am initiated in Kriya Yoga. And Hari Hanande Swamiji, I know your book is here somewhere, else over there. When I went in, I didn't know anybody there, and I just sat down on the floor. And when he walked in and looked at me, he said, "Oh, hello, my friend. Good to see you again." And I looked at him and said, "Sir, it's my first time here." He said, oh, no, you were with me your last life. And I thought, did he just say last life? Because I was 20 some years old. I was like, yeah, right. And he looked at me and laughed and said, you will start remembering. And now imagine, very heavy East Indian accent. And he's sitting on the floor with his legs crossed. And about a half hour or so in, I was thinking, this is so familiar. And while he's talking to everybody, he turned around and looked at me and said, you're beginning to remember, aren't you? And laughed and turned around and kept talking. And I was like, okay, this is familiar, but this is a little strange. But Kriya Yoga just came to me naturally. So there are cues and clues in your life that tell you how you were, what your last life could have been. You'll learn the language really quick. You're drawn to the dress. I did my DNA. I was very involved in the Ghanaian culture 20 years before I got initiated, did my DNA and found out that 90-some% of my DNA is from West Africa, Ghana. So, and when I'm there, it is so natural being in that present, in that energy. And that will explain why you have certain friends, why you are drawn to certain music. It is because that's the energy that you're bringing over from your previous life. Now, in the Bible, I think it's Matthew 19, when the disciples said to Jesus, no, it's not 19. Yeah. Excuse me. When the disciples said to Jesus, some say that you are Elijah, some say that you are Moses. He said, who do you say I am? If you notice in that, he never said I couldn't possibly be one of them, because reincarnation was just a part of the culture at the time. Everybody understood it. When they said, you are the Christ, he said, no one could have revealed that to you. But listen, if he is saying no one could have revealed that to you, but if I was Elijah or Muhammad or Moses, somebody could have revealed that part to you. So reincarnation was basically taken out of the Bible, along with many other things, and part of it had to do with control. I'll leave that alone. So reincarnation allows you go through a process that you constantly move forward, improving your life journey so that you can liberate yourself from the having to come back into the physical body. Now, that freeing process, the more we grow, the more we have to understand the choices that we make, because along with karma, reincarnation, comes karma. They are linked together. Karma, people usually think of karma as good and bad. It isn't good or bad, it just is. For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. And that means that none of us get away with anything. Anything that you've done in the dark will come out in the light. As the old folks say, you can hide your head, but your feet will show. So you get away with nothing. So it would be to your best advantage to be able to do good to people, not be in a vengeful mode, because anything that you do in a vengeful way must come back to you. So reincarnation gives us the chance to choose how free we wish to be in our next life. That also explains for those that may be in any of the indigenous religions and cultures, what we call deified ancestors. They have walked the earth before. Jesus is a deified ancestor. That means he's an ancestor, somebody who physically walked the earth, not like angels who were never physically on earth. But because of his good work, he moved into a deified state. I believe that there are certain people that moved into a deified state. The Catholic Church, that's how they make saints. They look at the work, the body of work that they've done. Saint Mother Teresa, I believe that they made her a deified saint. So a deified saint is somebody who walked the earth, which means they had several reincarnations that liberated themselves from the physical world, and they moved on into spirit, and they do not have to come back. There's a lot of, well, there's a theory of, at that point, they can choose to come back, but why come back into matter and the physical world when you will be free and you can communicate on a higher note? We'll leave that right there. So when people ask me, do I believe in reincarnation? I absolutely do. I mentioned karma. Karma and reincarnation work locked together. Our karma are the things that we either free ourselves from or connect ourselves to. Now, here's the key with karma. Every family has karma. Individually, you have karma. Every race have karma. The neighborhood you live in has karma. The school that you attend has karma. Every organization that you join has karma. So when you look at karma, think about it. All the different groups that I just named, you have a certain outlook and perception of each group. If you say the Red Cross, there's a perception of the Red Cross, of the work that they do. You say, if I name a sorority or a fraternity, you know the work that they do or don't do. And so if you join that group, whatever people perceive that group to be, you're locked into the karma of that group. Every church, every shrine, every mosque, every temple has karma connected to it. People look at it and say they do good work. People look at it and say they don't help anybody. People look at them and say, they're good at feeding people. Whatever that group does, if you are connected to it, then the perception is, and so you are locked into the energy and the karma of the group. I hope that makes sense to you. Your children, that is part of your karmic pattern. You were born again together so that you could learn lessons from each other. There is a book, I always think of this book after I start talking, is by Khalil Gibran, and it says, your children are not your children. They come through you, but not by you. You can't go where they're going. They're the breath of the ancestors. Are there beliefs of that reincarnation is a lower form? No. Some people do think of it, but that is a misnomer. All of my studies through Eastern all say that we evolve upward, never back, never backwards. Some people now don't grow and they get stuck and they've gone as far as they can this lifetime. But if you are a conscious being, your desire is to move forward and to free yourself from things that would lock you into the manifestation of the physical world. Yeah, that book is named The Prophet. Thank you. And I got it right over there, but I don't want to go get it. But if you get that book and read that poem, it really talks about your children are not your children. They come through you, but not by you. We don't create. We become the vehicles to help guide. And if you think of if you have children, any struggles that you have with your children, it would behoove you to find a way to bring peace, to understand that soul, because otherwise you will be linked again together the next time. That, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, do you want to go through the same struggles your next life that you have this life? Because next life, it may be reversed. They may be the parent and you might be the child. Or you're simply next door neighbors. I have somebody who has a next door neighbor and he constantly says, we don't get along. I said, if you want to free yourself from the cycle of his energy, don't ever get angry with him. In fact, your job is to love him through his pain. I said, speak to him every day. Every day he comes out, speak to him. Hello. But he said, I do speak, but he don't say anything. That's not your job. Hello, how you doing? Have a great day. Wear him down. Well, one day he told me, he said, you know, he actually stopped and had a whole conversation with me. Yes. So anybody that you may not get along with or you got bad feelings with, ask yourself, what is this relationship? Why are we connected? And do I wish to stay connected to this energy? I forgive myself for holding that energy. I forgive myself for even hating someone like this. I forgive myself for judging. See, because when you look at people and go, that ain't the way to do it. Ooh, judging, are we? Whatever you do to the least, you do unto me. So we need to look at things, and again, how do we constantly move forward and evolve so that we can do the greater good for the greater numbers and free ourselves from being locked into the physical world and be able to make better choices that free us and liberate us from the physical world. Now, I always say, if you see people that, and I'm going to give several examples. Some people who are born with disabilities. Some people who, through an accident, have a disability.
Mhm.
Some people who, in the war, and lose a limb or arm or have a disability, or just even mentally struggling. Now, I'm going to give this, but don't lock it into just one thing. That could be a very advanced soul, especially those who are born with a disability. I have watched some people born with disabilities, and they are happy. They've been, have always been in a wheelchair or had to use crutches, and they are happy. And you think, could I do that? And I think, wow, what an advanced soul, because they chose to carry this burden all of their life. And then they can do it and be angry, or do it and go, I got this, and I'm free.
Yeah.
When I did work at Walter Reed, where veterans who come back from the war who are, injured. And I worked with people who, everything from severe burns to losing both legs and an arm. And it's interesting to watch the process, because they'll start off depressed or angry, and then through it, they begin to adjust and have to find new purpose. Now, some do it faster than others. And I would always ask myself, could I handle it this gracefully when I see some of them?
Yeah.
And it gives me the energy. I actually went to do massage work with people who were, little sidebar, which you've heard of ghost limbs and the astral body.
Yeah.
I would have them close their eyes and work with if they had no arm, I would still work all the way. And many times they would say, I can feel my hand, or I can feel my foot. It was interesting, but I just had to put that in there. So it allows you to see things from a different perspective, instead of, oh, that poor person, versus, wow, what kind of soul could handle that? What kind of soul can take on that kind of karma and handle it well? Because you see two people in the same situation, and one is angry and cussing and mad all the time, and another one picks it up and goes, okay, I'll deal with it. One is freeing themselves from the karmic pattern, and one is locking themselves into it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why everybody that's in leadership, one of the worst attitudes you could have is, I got mine and you got yours to get. I'm gonna make it hard for you because it was hard for me.
No.
And we see that all the time. I remember in martial arts when I was training, and there was of some forms. This one of my he was we were equal in class, and there was this advanced technique that I wanted to learn, and he came back in the next month and demonstrated in front of me, and I said, "Oh, great! Show it to me." And he said, "No, no." I thought he was kidding. He said, "Now I know something that Albert Cheeks don't know." I said, "Very good." I said, "But I taught you almost every technique that you know. He said, I know. But this one, you don't know. And now I got you. I
Wow.
went out, I said, if you know it, so do 9 other people, because at least 10 people know it, okay? All I got to do is find one of the other 9. Well, I learned the technique. I practiced that thing like crazy. And when I walked in the dojo, when he came in, I went right into it and demonstrated the whole thing. And he looked at me and I said, all seniors, stand up. I taught it to everybody. No, wrong attitude. We have to be mindful who we teach stuff to. You don't give baby a butcher knife, but you have to always remember the baby won't stay a baby. So reincarnation and karma are linked together. Reincarnation is the soul that returns and is trying to liberate itself from its karma. That is the only way for the spirit to be free. Anybody got any questions along the way? Is this making sense? Nod your head, wave, do, and let me know that it makes sense to you. Okay.
Yeah, for karma, for reincarnation. I know one time you told us that things that reincarnation is taking place quicker. So, about how, do you go 2 or 3 lifetimes before you come back, or how does that work? Do you just come back right away, or you wait for a while?
Some people come back quickly because they have advanced along the road. And again, I'm putting this in simplistic terms. They don't need to rest. They can come back and they are advanced and they have freed themselves and liberated themselves in such a way that they come back quickly. You know, when they pick the Dalai Lama, they put them through a test. And the way he get picked is because he's able to answer certain questions that only one who was in the last life would have known. Advanced souls. Some folks are in, and I'm just going to use like in grade school, versus some folks are in college.
Yeah.
Okay. And so yeah, some folks do come back quick or faster than others. And here's the other thing, which is amazing. We come in the same group. This group leaves, another group comes. That group leaves, another group. Usually you are in the same group of people, the same group of souls. So when those souls are leaving, you notice that when it's like when an accident happened and several people die at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they were all connected. Even though they may have been on the plane and not known each other, but spiritually they're connected. And then what happens is this group of souls is moving on, and this group of souls are coming behind them. And this, when they leave, but now every once in a while, a soul in this group is able to jump over to this group. And so it comes back fast. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And that's why you get some of these genius children. You know, I'm looking at, you got some of these kids, who are able to graduate from college at 15 and 16 and
Yeah.
doing doctoral work. They've been here before.
Mhm.
You know, people that hear something, the music or something, and pick it up immediately. Been here before.
Mhm.
And we bring gifts with us from our last life. That's why, you know, my dear friend Melvin Dill used to say, God did not give you a gift, you have gifts. He said, use all of them. And so our job is to explore and find out, when you hear the expression God-given gifts, somebody sing and they go, that's a God-given gift. Yes, it is. They brought it from their last life. And so the more, and that's why I found myself drawn to metaphysics and drawn to philosophy, and drawn, it just seems to come natural for me. But that's why I understand my teacher when he said, you were with me in the temple your last life. And I'm like, okay. And I wrestle with things that I practice, but to stay free so that I'm not bound by many things. All of us have an addiction. The only difference between a person in recovery and you is that they found out what their addiction is.
Okay.
I always say mine is food. If I had my way, I'd be the same height standing up as I am laying down. I'd be perfectly round. Y'all have to say, which way is his head? Roll him up, bro. Okay, that's my
Good.
silly.
Mm.
But it would be part of your liberation is to, what are the things that are trapping you, and how do you let go? How do you free yourself? It's one thing that I can pick this up and put it down when I want. I love chocolate, but I can take chocolate and have a piece of chocolate in the refrigerator all month. I just did it. Love chocolate. I just break off little pieces and suck on it. But if I don't have chocolate, I'm not letting it control me. I love fabric, and I love clothes, and I
Bless you.
give some of my best pieces away. Sometimes it's because it no longer fits. I'm in a different category. And sometimes I look at pieces and go, oh, this would look good on him. This would look good on her. I have a sister friend in LA years ago, and I had this top on, a beautiful blue, and she said, that is gorgeous. And I said, you like it? And she said, yes. I've never seen any. Oh, that is so gorgeous. And so I walked up to her later and I said, come here. And I took it off. No, I came back and I said, try this on. And I buttoned it up on her and walked away. And she said, what are you doing? I said, it's yours. I said, I knew I brought it for somebody. And she said, I can't just take the clothes off your back. I said, yes, you didn't. I gave it to you. Sometimes pieces just look better, or she'll always remember me.
Yeah.
But the more we can free ourselves and not be so attached. I tell people that have been in my house, you see, I got elephants and bowls and dragons and books and plaques. If you really want one, take it. I don't have enough room on the wall for art anyway. I love it, but I'm not that attached to it. So how do we free ourselves so that our spirits can be free? And reincarnation happens whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
But the more we grow and the more conscious we are, then we understand that we are take control, and it gives us free choice, because of the choices we make. We understand I'm free to pick it up and put it down, or I am addicted to it and I'm trapped. I watch people, you know, I'm a grief counselor, and I watch people sometimes in the process of dying. Some people struggle with it. Oh my goodness. They're 80, 90 years old and don't want to let go of the body. And then I watch some people who are young, in their 20s and 30s. And I had a young man who did a workshop with me, and a grief workshop. And I said, how you live is how you die. Live boldly, die boldly. Live in fear, die in fear. And when he was dying, he asked me to come visit him, and we did a traditional wake. There's a difference between a wake and a viewing. When people come and just look down on your body, that's called a viewing. The wake is while you are still awake, you have unfinished business.
Okay.
Yes. Why would it be awake when the person? So
Go ahead.
he asked me, we have a question?
Yes. And actually, Baba, Kevin had his hand raised, but I posed a question in the chat prior having to do with karma. When you were mentioning that everything has is karma, this, you know, school you went to, the frat group, blah, blah, blah. Can we say that every entity has karmic energy?
Oh, absolutely. Everything is energy. And that karmic energy is in your life. It's just like the blue in this top. You can't get rid of it. And you have to live through it. And the more you understand it, you understand that energy, the energy between you and another person, that's bad vibes. All you have to ask yourself is, why do I feel this? How do I free myself from this energy? That person that we all know this, you meet somebody, the moment you meet them, it's like good energy, good vibes. Or I've known you, I just feel like I've known you. I had a friend named, we met each other, and when we met each other, we kept going, where did you go to school? What part of the city did you live in? And we kept going through this, and we never lived in the same section. We never went to the same schools. And at the same time, we looked at each other and said, last life. And I said, is that you? He said, Rainey, is that you? I said, hey. He said, how you like my new body? I said, that's pretty good. But yeah, there is energy, karmic energy.
And Baba Kevin had a question.
Yes.
Hello. When
Yes.
people believe that they're like people in the same family, they think that a relative has come back in another child.
Very possible.
Right.
Very possible. Usually those are advanced souls, because they're ready to clean up more karma faster. Now, usually those are advanced souls, and they are the ones that usually become spiritual leaders or shamans or something of that nature. Okay, any other questions? Well, and that's why I'm going to do the 12 disciples. I think I can get through all of them next week. I'll do a brief overview of them. But again, you are connected to and the karma of every group, every church, every mosque, every temple, every school, every neighborhood that you belong to. There is karma connected to it. You know that people go, that's a bad neighborhood. You're connected to the karma of that neighborhood. Oh, that school does great work. You can just mention the school that you went to and everybody go, oh, that school was on top. It has a good reputation. And so you're connected to that. That's why it's so important about, I never forget, I did something and my mother simply said, don't do anything to embarrass the family. In other words, don't bring the karma, don't bring the negative energy. Make sure it's not. So every group that you're connected to, your friends, who you hang with, yeah, you're connected to the karmic pattern and energy of that group. Oh, 5 minutes of, I hope that helped somebody tonight.
It did.
Oh, great, great, great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, another point I want to make about it being in the Bible or any other sacred text. Remember, especially with the Bible, many things were taken out on purpose. And the Bible, Christianity, I'll say the Bible too. Christianity was based on African tradition. And in most African traditions that I have studied or know of, except reincarnation release.
Wow.
That's a whole nother history lesson on the African nation, how Christianity, I'm just going to say, borrowed many rituals from the different African cultures.
That's true.
Because people forget that when you're talking about Jerusalem and in Israel, that was East Africa. We call it the Middle East. Middle East of what? If you look at any old map, that's Africa, Asia. And so it was easy to go into, when people talk about going to Egypt, Egypt is part of Africa.
Yeah. It is.
I remember when somebody asked me, they said, have you ever been to Africa? I said, well, yeah, my first trip was to Egypt. And they said, but did you go to Africa? Last time I checked, it was still connected to the continent of Africa. People forget that Africa is a continent and not a country.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. I love this. I love this. I love this. I know that we are. I'm asking, please share with your friends. Very soon, I'm going to be switching another format to another platform. I will always be on Zoom. Zoom will be connected to it. But I love the teachings like this, and I pray that it blesses somebody in the process. Well, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I can't know. Is it 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock? 7 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
8
It's
o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yes. Yes, 8 o'clock. Yes. I knew that. I was seeing if y'all were paying attention.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Oh gosh, that hour went quick.
It did.
Well, you know, that's what they say when you're having fun.
Yep.
I
That's
got a
right.
whole thing of notes over here I never even got to. But I believe I gave enough information.
Yep.
Well, I thank you again for joining me right here on Rainey Speaks. Pass the word, let folks know we're here every Thursday night. Anybody that's in, please, if you have a subject that you would like for me to maybe speak on, and you know what just hit me? Even the whole thing with the war of Ukraine and Russia and all of that, that's part of a comic pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why it's important for us to pray for it and to send light that way to help free even nations of the comic pattern that we live in. Yes. Well, there's the elders pouring libation, giving thanks to Mother Earth and to Spirit. And I
Yep.
give thanks to Mother Earth and to Spirit and to all of you that have joined me here on Rainey Speaks. I thank you for everybody, for every donation that's made, big and small. It all is, let me say this, every time you spend money, part of the karma, bless it and command it to come back to you.
Okay.
Tell it to multiply. I spend my money by saying, multiply tenfold and come back here. We have dominion over everything.
Mm-hmm. Dominion.
So that's a whole nother lesson I can teach on that one too. So I thank you again every Thursday night. I pray that all the ancestors smile upon you. I pray that the God force fills you, surrounds you, keep you, and protect you. I pray that every good thing comes your way. I pray that the love and light of Christ dwell in you and that everybody see how bright your light is.
Shame.
I pray that you take center stage of your life unapologetically so that you give thanks.
Shame.
I give praise that you unwrap the gifts that God has placed in you and share them freely with the world. For these blessings and all blessings, in the love and the light of Christ that dwell in us, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. Medawasi, 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 yo. See you next Thursday night.
Ashe. Ashe, Baba.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Say,
With all my heart,
Thank you.
I give you
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you. Stay blessed and stay handsome.
Good night, everybody.
all I
And I'm celebrating my birthday this
Birthday.
weekend.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
Happy
70.
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Yes. All right,
Oh,
good people.
Lord.
See you next week.
Thank you for the blessing of you.